Welcome back to Odys podcast. This time we've had Matt Diggity. You know who he is. We've discussed all things SEO and affiliate marketing and how he became one of the best in the game. To support this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on your favorite streaming platform. Nice to see you, Matt.
Nice to see you. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're so glad and stoked about having you on our podcast, episode 7 and still running, and it's you on our show. How have you been so far?
The pleasure's mine, man. The pleasure's mine. You guys have, as Odys, you guys have done a lot for me in the past, so it's time I return the favor.
Well, it's always great dealing with you. It was also awesome meeting you in Vietnam, in Saigon. And you know, I've been seeing you for the past year in YouTube videos, hearing a lot of stuff about you from my colleagues, and then look, you're walking by our stand in Saigon. It was really cool. So yeah,
what a great conference too. Did you like that conference?
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
and I mean, it was Matt's first conference, but I think that's just the winning formula. Just have a conference in Southeast Asia, and just like the locale is going to take care of most of it, and then you just got to pull together some speakers, then boom, awesome conference.
Yeah, the conference was great. It was the first conference of this sort for me, and
Nice.
yeah, I was really excited about it in the first place, and just meeting all those amazing people you included, like having tons of mind-blowing conversations, not just about SEO and affiliate marketing, you know, just about all the different stuff. There was this guy from Australia, Kieran, the tall guy, and at the first after party, out of the nowhere, we just ended up having a conversation about the Imposter Syndrome, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's not that I've had like big issues with this thing, but I had some thoughts about it. It's like this tiny little thoughts sitting in the back of my head, saying something like, "Well, you're just pretty much like copying stuff and just adapting it to whatever you do. You're not doing anything like original, unique, and all these things." But talking to him like changed my perspective and helped me to take a different look at those things, you know, and just it was really unexpected, out of nowhere. So yeah, let's get back to you. So could you?
Well, I just want to comment one thing on imposter syndrome.
Sure.
Like, I got imposter syndrome too, big time, man. And like, I think anyone who has any healthy measure of humility and isn't a narcissistic egomaniac would obviously think that whatever they're accomplishing, whatever they're doing, it might not be normal, or might not be, or whatever they're trying to achieve might not be within their capabilities, because we're all trying to go somewhere different. We're all trying to be bigger than we are right now. And like, unless you just think you're the bomb and have no self-humility at all, like, you're going to feel fake sometimes. And it's going to happen as long as you're progressing and you're a normal human, you're going to have this experience.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. This is something I've come to terms with as well. All right. Well, you've definitely been around for quite a while. Pretty much any person who's been doing SEO or affiliate marketing for the past, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 years, knows about you, is watching your videos, learns stuff from you. So could you just walk us through your journey, I'd say? Like, how did you end up doing SEO, where you are right now, and what are you up to right now?
Sure. Yeah. So I was an electrical engineer. I went to UC San Diego, and I got a bachelor's and a master's degree, and I entered the field, and I was working as an engineer in San Diego and working for a software company. And it was not fun. 60-hour weeks were normal. And I never once felt like I was on top of my work. I was never interested in the work. I really was having an existential crisis. Like, is this really what life is? Like, my salary is pretty good, 120, 130,000 per year. But like, I didn't even have time to spend that. And I didn't even have like any time to like really get into a flow of enjoyment. I was always just recovering from stress. It was like a consistent stress recovery like loop that was like the weekdays, then the weekend. Sometimes I didn't even get that weekend. Sometimes I had to work on the weekend. So for me, it's just like, I knew that this wouldn't last. And then when someone turned me on to the 4-hour work week, then it was just like, oh, okay, there's other ways to live. And I'm not sure if this guy, Tim Ferriss, who wrote this book, is just talking about his unique experience. I mean, the dude like positions himself as a genius. Like, oh, I learned freaking judo and won the world championship in a week. I won a tango competition in a month or something. Like, that doesn't seem normal. So like, maybe this guy's figured something out, but maybe he's just a genius and like maybe not everyone can do it. But I knew at that point in time that I didn't want to trade my time for money anymore. And I also didn't want to trade up my freedom of location. I wanted to be able to travel. So my idea was I always loved Thailand. And I thought like, okay, I'm just going to go to Thailand and I'm going to figure out how to make money online or on the road. Maybe I would like teach English or something and just make enough to get by. And as long as I had like enough time for myself, that's a way more rewarding life than anything I'm doing right now. And so it just turned out the first thing I started doing was SEO and affiliate marketing. And my first site failed, but I kept at it. And my second set of sites like started generating me money, and I started making enough money to consider like, okay, I'll be fine if I move to Thailand. I will make more money than I'll spend. So let's go out there and just do this thing full time and then live my life. And then what I found out is like, not only was like, you can make a way more money than $3,000 a month. I can make my engineering salary in a single month. But it was way fun for me, and it was way rewarding. And like this community of working with other entrepreneurs who are in charge of their lives was way different than working with a bunch of cubicle junkies who were in the same like slavery type position that I was in. So I found it like super rewarding. And I truly feel like if you're an entrepreneur and you're doing something for yourself, a business for yourself, doesn't matter what that is, it's going to be fun. It's going to be amazing. And you're going to love waking up to it every day. Way different than like if you're working for someone else. So like I just went all in, and it was the best decision of my life, like moving to Thailand and going all in on SEO and affiliate marketing. It changed my life.
Yeah, you know, your story really rings similar to what other people that have been on our show were telling me. Well, the last one was Doug Cunnington. He shared his story as well. He was also either an engineer or project manager in an engineering company. But yeah, he also decided, well, there were layoffs sometime in the early 2010s. And well, he decided to try and do SEO and affiliate marketing, and he just didn't know how to do it and just tried his best. And then the first like 13 cents that dropped into his account were like, okay, I'm doing something right. I'm going to learn and earn from it. So yeah, and Emilia Gardner, who was a lawyer, full-time lawyer, she also like became a full-time mom and decided and was well, she started to look into opportunities. What could she do while being at home, and started blogging, then started learning SEO, and then also switched to this thing full-time. And yeah, they're completely happy about this switch and being in charge of their lives as well. Yeah, so it's really interesting how you guys like totally different people from different backgrounds just end up discovering this thing and going all in and just making it work. So yeah, very cool. I'm just amazed every time I hear your stories. They're really cool. So yeah, I'm legitimately happy for you as well. And you've been doing this for how many years? Or well, you mentioned it in one of your last videos. Just don't remember. Was it 2013, 2015? you started doing it?
I started in 2009.
Oh, 2009. Oh, wow. So this was basically the year of the global financial crisis.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess maybe that started me off on hard mode. So if I could make it work back then, that maybe that like trial by fire kind of thing. I'm not sure. I didn't. For me, it didn't really matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like I quit in high fashion, leaving the engineering job. Like I couldn't go back. So for me, it didn't really matter. And I was setting the bar low. It was just like enough to survive.
Mm-hmm.
$3,000 a month is plenty in Thailand. So
Mm-hmm.
like that's all I was going for. And I knew it was doable. So I just didn't know like the ceiling is unlimitless in this game.
Okay, yeah. And what makes SEO and affiliate marketing special for you? Not just making the buck, but just enjoying it. What makes it special for you?
I would say I'm like really competitive, and like I have a history as a gamer too. So it's like I look at SEO like a leaderboard, right? There's only one number one. There's number two, number three. Like you're constantly competing for this position, and you get rewarded with gold, or in this case we'll call it money, right?
Yeah.
So the gaming aspect is really nice, but like it also suits my background as an engineer. Like I learned like being an electrical engineer and doing all this mathematical type single variable tests. Like I learned how to test the algorithm. I learned how to create single variable test environments where I can really extract out if something is a ranking signal or not, if something is beneficial to run my website. So it makes me efficient. Not only like do I know what to do to get better rankings on my websites, but I know what not to do, which saves me time and money.
Yeah, and so it's like solving a puzzle for you every time. How often do you have to change strategies due to like Google changes and changes in the market, and I don't know, changes in trends, all of those, because it's all fluid and fluctuating all the time. So how often does it happen for you?
Maybe like once a year or once every 2 years, we make a major paradigm shift in what we're doing. I mean, I guess it was like 2 or 3 years ago where we kind of abandoned keyword research and like cherry picking topics based on like what's the highest reward keyword and the lowest competition. We'll do that one first, and we'll do that one. And then we abandoned that for like topical authority when I really started getting close with Corey and understanding his methodology. And then I don't know. So this year it's like going to be a big shift towards AI, and we're already like halfway there in terms of our process carryover. It's like, yeah, every couple of years, it's not like we scrap everything that we did. We just like learn something new and add another layer of complexity or another layer of sophistication to the process.
Yeah, you're saying we. How long have you been doing this on your own, and when did you get a team?
Yeah, so like obviously I started off on my own because like I didn't have enough work and just one project, and I had to learn it all, right?
Yeah.
But being so scarred from this engineering lifestyle and having to work 60-hour weeks, like I knew I didn't want to build that for myself already. And then I think also like because I was first kindled by the 4-hour work week, that book tells you like what other books are good supplemental reading to read beyond this. And one of the top ones was The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which is all about systems and creating standard operating procedures. And it just drilled into me that like the first time I start doing something that I think I'm going to have to repeat sometime, I already start documenting how to do it again so I can pass it off to someone else. So it didn't take too long. Like I started outsourcing fairly quickly just because I just didn't want to work a lot. It was crazy. I was like so stuck on like so fearful of getting back into like a workaholic lifestyle that I even told like when I started another business with one of my friends, I even told him, hey, when we get to $10,000 a month, I'm gonna cap it off there. I'm gonna make sure we're not gonna grow past that amount. He's like, what are you talking about? It's like, I don't want to get back into this. Of course, I didn't stop there, but I just didn't know that work could be this fulfilling in that point in time.
You're basically working smart instead of working hard.
I guess so. I'm just working like the only way I knew how. It was just like I don't want to slave myself again.
Yeah, I get it. I've been freelancing for, I started freelancing in 2009. as well. And pretty much before joining Odys last year, I've been freelancing all that time, except for like short periods of trying to work at a couple of different other companies. And but freelancing, I've been a freelance writer, and it's when it's good. I mean, when you have work, it's really, really, really rewarding. But you can have everything in today, and the next day it's just you have nothing, nothing to earn from. Yeah. I've been also like considering learning SEO because every time, once in a while, I've been working with SEO experts, and they've been sending me like their keywords to integrate into texts and their requirements and all those things. And I was thinking like, well, I don't want to be this low-level employee in this system, and I want to learn the next level of things. But yeah, I didn't I don't know, maybe I didn't have the guts to do it on my own. Maybe I just at other points I didn't have the time. But either way, I didn't learn it yet. Although after the SEO Mastery Summit, I've really started thinking about looking into it. I started watching the Ahrefs beginner SEO course. I've been talking to different people that I've met at SEO Mastery as well about this. How did they start? What were the bottlenecks they had to go through? And it's very interesting and intriguing and promising. Just I think it just takes some bravery to make this shift and do the step to start learning something that has seemingly been around for all those years. And I know so many things associated with it. It's just that I have to make this step. So I don't know, maybe when something drastic happens again, and I have to overlook all my everything that I do, and maybe that'll be the point that I'll shift, like you did when you were abandoning your engineering job. Speaking of SEO, what are some of your favorite techniques in SEO? Well, you mentioned topical authority. You've abandoned keyword research, so
yeah. So, I mean, there's a million SEO techniques, and there's different small parts of it that make up the entire strategy. Like it's complicated. There's a lot to know. There's a lot to do. But I would say like what's really working for me right now is topical authority. Like just covering a topic to such an extent that your competitors can't keep up. Like they're writing 35 articles on protein powder. You got 300. Google has no choice but to think you're more topically authoritative than they are. So that's a big part of it too. And then it's not just writing every article, it's writing every article well. And I'm not a huge believer that you just write quality content that the reader loves and you're going to rank number one. Google's freaking math. It's an algorithm. It's a robot. It doesn't have feelings about your content. So it's expecting to see certain entities, words, keywords, and phrases in certain frequencies on the page in certain spots. And like, if you don't think that's true, go watch any kind of interview from Kyle Roof. Like you can rank content that makes no sense if you got the keywords in the right place. So like single page optimization boils down to, getting the subtopics right. If I'm going to write an article on how to lose belly fat, right? What are the H2s that make up this entire article? Like, well, avoiding trans fats, getting exercise, blah, 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 right? Calories in, calories out. So it's about figuring out what's the outline of your article before you write it, figuring out how long you need to write your article in order to answer the search query properly. Again, optimizing the entities, keywords, and phrases. And for that, I'm using Surfer. I'm using Surfer for all the on-site SEO stuff. Answering the main search query in an NLP friendly format. You echo back the question. use the word is, then give the answer, giving a fast answer to the search query. Google wants their users to get their answers quick. They're competing with TikTok. They're competing with AI now. They want people to get served their answer very quickly. And so all this stuff makes up single page optimization. And then you have offsite SEO. Offsite SEO is your backlinks and stuff like that. So I'm basically looking at backlinks in two different categories. So like high authority links. These are links from your huge sites, your American Expresses, your IBM.com, your Forbes, sites like these. I don't care about relevance here. The bigger a website is, the more likely that it's not going to be niche specific. There's no DR90 kayaking websites. So like you're not looking for relevant links up here. You're looking for links with authority. Yeah. And so just focus on getting those through techniques like Haro or digital PR. And then for your volume links, that's where your power and relevance are coming from. That's where you're doing your guest post campaigns, your link insertion campaigns and stuff like that. Then beyond that, I mean, it's just like I said before, it's like my best SEO technique is testing the algorithm and running single variable testing, and also networking with other testers is multiplying the knowledge that I have. That's what keeps me on top of my game, for sure.
Wow. That's... We somehow picked the mind of the great Matt Diggity right now. It's wow. I think our listeners will appreciate you sharing all of this. It's really interesting how your mind works. And when you started talking about this, you had you needed a second to just consider things, and then you just went raving about this thing, and you could see I could see the fire in your eyes while you were talking about it. Wow, just amazing. And I've been thinking, you definitely have a team that's working with you, that's handling all of the different things. But my question would be, how much are you invested in all these processes? Are you pretty much right now monitoring things, or are you also participating in some of these more detailed things?
Okay, so there's multiple businesses here. So what we've been talking about most of the time is just ranking websites, affiliate websites. Mm-hmm. That's a company I have called LeadSpring. Uh-huh. And so if we're talking about LeadSpring, I haven't logged into WordPress in 5 years. I haven't done any of these things hands-on for a long time, but so I'm working on direction. Mm-hmm. I'm working on new strategy. I'm working on business decisions, stuff like that. But I'm still definitely overseeing the process. Mm-hmm. Just not the nitty-gritty part of it.
Okay. That's curious. That's interesting, because while you're not in the nitty-gritty part of it, you still have a clear understanding of what's going on, and this is something you don't see around very often when people run companies. They're just a lot of the times they're just overseeing things. They need reports. They need to. They want certain goals achieved over certain periods of time, and they just leave everything else to their employees, let's say. So it's really interesting. And what are some of the wildest SEO techniques you've seen over the years? Some really unexpected, something you wouldn't have expected to work, or something you haven't thought about,
Yeah, I got one. So a lot of these things, some of the wildest things, when I hear the word wild, I'm thinking Blackhat. Uh-huh. There's some kind of loophole that can give me tremendous results real quickly. And to be honest, I won't share the ones that are working for me right now, because I want them to continue working, right? But let me give you an example of something that happened a couple of years ago. So I have a site. It's a pretty gray hat site. It's a fully powered by PBN backlinks, which are a gray hat backlink. It's my own network, but every single backlink this website has is from a PBN, and so that's a pretty aggressive signal. That means every backlink this website has is coming from a homepage. it's not something I would do on a white hat site or a site that I'm looking to flip or a client site. And this is just something I'm doing on a personal test project on a churn and burn niche that this is kind of commonplace to do it in. So I got manual penalty, unnatural links penalty. It shows up in your Google Search Console. And when that happens, your rankings go to absolute zero. So like they just completely penalize the site. So at this point in time, I was trying to figure out what to do about it. And so I knew that I am in control of all these backlinks. Let me remove all of them. I'm going to remove every single one of these backlinks because I have control of them all. So resubmit a reconsideration request. They're going to have to say yes because the site literally has 0 backlinks. How can it have an unnatural links penalty? So they did say yes. The website came back to the same positions it was before because of this link echo effect. Because once you remove a link from a website, it takes months for that link power to wear off. So we reconsidered the website. We got back to number 1. Then I just took the same exact PBNs, put them right back to the site. So like what that meant for me is like that people think that Google is like this really keeps track of all this stuff and like it knows everything you've done in the history. This disavow is like going to put a stain on your site. And if you ever use it, they're going to you're up to naughtiness. Dude, this whole system is so very automated. And you have to think about it like Google, just to run Google, just to do a search query is very expensive for them. To keep track of your website, even if they're keeping track of a minimal piece of information on your website, it's expensive for them. So like they can't keep track of all this crazy like tin hat stuff that a lot of SEOs think that they do. It's just not economically feasible for them.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that your personal project is a gray hat site, and quite recently in one of your tweets, you mentioned something like if it's black hat, gray hat, or white hat, if it's working, it doesn't matter as long as it works. Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, I mean, so there's this like fake war in this like industry of SEOs between black hats and white hat SEOs. Actually, there's no war. The white hats think it's a war because white hats are like, you should do things the right way, and like you're cheating the system, and your methodologies suck because your websites don't last for that long, etc. Like the black hat's just like, what are you talking about? Shut up! You guys don't know how to make money. Like there's no actual war. It's just the white hats just like are really vocal about like you should do everything within Google's terms of service, but this whole thing is just like a gigantic waste of time for both sides. Like, who really cares? This is all just business decisions. There's nothing illegal about building backlinks a certain way. There's nothing. The only thing is it's against Google's terms of service, and you might get penalized if you get caught for it. That's a business decision. It's a personal decision. It'd be like you coming to me saying, you don't like dollar cost average investing. You like to go all in crypto. Who am I to tell you shouldn't do your investing that way? That might make complete sense to you. It's just completely up to you. And if I'm wasting my time on Twitter getting angry at that, just means I'm not becoming a better SEO. But the fact of the matter is everything is black hat. It's all over Google's documentation. If you do X to try to manipulate search rankings, that's against our terms of service. Anything you do in SEO is trying to manipulate your search rankings. That's why you're doing it in the first place. You're just taking matters in your own hands. You're trying to manipulate the search engine. You want a higher ranking. Yeah. So if you build backlinks yourself and don't let them come in naturally, that is against their search guidelines. So you're against their you're manipulating the search engine, right? So like you could decide all my links should come in naturally, or you could decide to do outreach yourself, pay for some backlinks, etc. You'll get a twice as fast, maybe 3 times or 4 times as fast result if you're taking backlinking proactively. Or you can do it yourself, or you can just let them come in naturally, and you're going to take 3 to 4 times longer. That's your business decision. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like all this is just like a complete waste of time.
It's funny how you called it a fake war. Really, really funny. Yeah. What do you make of H domains. You've known us for quite a while. I mean, Odys Global. What is your experience with H domains?
Yeah. So let's see. So I got this. I mean, the most recent experience is I got this AI case study, right? And I built that off an Odys domain.
Mm-hmm.
And man, I fucking love it, man. It's just the traffic's vertical.
Wow.
So like, yeah, I'm a big fan. I'm super happy I found that domain with you guys. I probably only build 20% of my sites off of age domains, because most of the time, so we're in a position where we have like a lot of cash flow. We have a lot of money in the bank. So we prefer most of the time to just buy an existing site that has content on it. Someone's already in the niche and we take it off their hands. And like we take it to the next level. But like, I'd say your second best, if you don't have that kind of like cash flow or anything, or if you just want to like get into a niche that doesn't have a site that you can buy already, the age domain is your best bet. And I think like in my experience, like I've built probably 3 or 4 websites off of age domains in the last 3 or 4 years, and I have 100% success rate. And that's,
nice.
I think that's a big part because like I started working with you guys. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I think it's like maybe the hit rate has to do with how well I'm matching up what the niche was before with what the niche is now. Or I really like the fact that you guys like ice your domains. You host them up, you put content on them. So it's not like you're resurrecting this domain from like the ashes and then like trying to bring it back to life. It's already been on life support this whole time. It's just ready to wake up, right?
I like the life support mention because it really is like that. You know, just basically we just basically keep them on life support. Speaking of AI, this topic is so hot right now. Everyone was speaking about was talking about AI back in Saigon in the beginning of March. Like pretty much any conversation reverted to talking about AI and how it affects SEO and affiliate marketing, and should people just exit their businesses and sell their sites, or should they keep going and see how things go? What do you make of it? In terms of SEO, affiliate marketing industry, how does it affect it today, and what do you how do you put it to use?
Yeah, so it hasn't done anything today because the adoption is like nothing right now. Like people play with ChatGPT, but it hasn't taken over how people are searching for answers. It's like the loss in traffic is negligible, but that's not to say it's going to stay that way for a long time. That's going to depend on adoption and UX. Like if you look at Bing, right? So Bing has really been going slow with it, or they could go a lot faster. It's like Bing's only key differentiator that's better than Google is that they got their chat built in, right? But they're not even putting that front and center, right? It's their search first. There's a little box over on the side that sometimes gives an AI answer. There's like this at the nav bar at the top, you know, in Google Images, it's like you got Google search, then images, and then maps, and then shopping and stuff. Like these links that no one ever clicks ever, like they got a chat button up there. So like they're kind of hiding it. So UX wise, it's just like not in your face. And like, I think Google's pumped their brakes, you know, with their launch, and they made their mistake with a factual error, like on their launch demo. Like everyone's going like really slow with this, but also like adoption. Like we don't know how much the average Joe is going to like want to get his answers from an AI chat. You know, we're just going to have to see, but there's no way around it. We're going to get some kind of haircut in traffic. There's going to be a non-zero amount of people that are going to use the chat to answer their questions and not the search, right? So we're going to get a haircut in traffic. How much is that going to be? 20%, 50%? Who knows? But the way I look at it is just like, I'll take this trade any day of the week because Google has said that we will reward content however it's produced, including AI, right? So they've gone on record saying AI is fine. Whether or not they're going to stick to that's another point, like another discussion. But I now have free reign to use AI tools as much as I want. So you go ahead, give me this haircut of 20% in traffic, but I'm going to 10x, I'm going to 100x my content output. I've just put my SEO business on supercharger. So like, that's fine. You're going to take away 20% of my traffic because I now create websites 10 times faster. So I love it. Eventually, right? So, but I'm on the cutting edge, right? Like people that are going to Chiang Mai SEO conference, the people in our network, the people in my course, like we're all on the cutting edge, right? There's eventually the rest of the industry will catch up.
Yeah.
And so who's going to win when everyone has AI at their fingertips? And that's going to boil down to who can complete topics completely, who can write everything there's to write. If everyone can write fast, who knows what to write? So that comes like down to topical authority and being able to generate a topical map properly. And then what else? Like backlinks. Backlinks are always the key differentiator. If two articles are the same, they have relatively the same content. Which one wins? The one with more backlinks. So that's going to be a big thing there. And then I think the next level will be when Google can really start detecting EAT in the content. Like right now they don't. They depend on links for that. But eventually, when their processing power increases, they might start to look for language in the content like our experience or my test results or from what I learned through my research. They might start looking at that, or they might be able to track down like author credentials and stuff like that. But right now they definitely don't, but maybe that will come into play. So these are like, this is how you start thinking about how to succeed at SEO in the future.
Okay, so you don't think all this SEO is dead panic is relevant?
At least not in the next 5 years or so. Like it's just going so slow. And you have to think about like Google loves their golden goose model of being able to run ads on the search result, their display ad network. If people stop looking at websites, search results that are listing out websites, or if people stop visiting websites and seeing display ads on the side, they don't make money. So they're going to resist this as long as they can until they figure out how to monetize this other thing. And they're always going to have to reward content creators, because if there's no content created, then the AI has nothing to learn from.
Yeah. Totally agree with you. This is quite similar to the way I look at things. Like, well, it's the technological progress, and it's inevitable. You just have to adapt, and it happens. It's happened in pretty much any area of our lives, of human existence. I'd say even over the past 100 years. You know, like when people switched from horses to cars, from human labor to machines in factories, and this goes on and on and on. And I think that AI in terms of SEO is going to be this kind of a similar transition, and not just for SEO, for site creation in general, for handling businesses online in general. Yeah, so yeah, totally there with you. Either way, what would you?
One thing to add. One thing to add is that right now, like if you're an SEO professional, you're building websites and you have a portfolio of websites, you run an agency or something like that. You think that you're learning and perfecting SEO, but what the real skill that you're learning and perfecting is entrepreneurship. You're learning how to solve problems. You're learning how to find people for jobs. You're learning how to pivot when things change. And because SEO is so dynamic, you're one of the best suited entrepreneurs on the planet. Like you think like drop shippers like have changed in algorithms like as fast as we do? Do you think like even the medical industry, like sure they have development there, but that's slow over decades. Our stuff is changing every month, right? So who is in a better position to pivot and adapt and adopt when something like AI comes out? We are. You're trained for this. You're doing this all the time. There's no one in a better position to succeed at SEO with AI than you, for sure. So it's just, I think that people are afraid of change, but they don't realize how prepared they are. Yeah. Especially SEOs.
Yeah. Either way, what would you do if AI took over SEO like completely tomorrow?
If let's imagine the full doomsday scenario.
Yeah.
99% of people, Google doesn't exist anymore. You type something in Google and AI answers the question. She's just like, no traffic for websites anymore. Okay, that's the worst situation. I'd probably retire. I think I would. Well, at least I'd retire from SEO. Obviously, that would be utterly dead. But I'd take more time to travel more. I'd work on local projects. Like in Chiang Mai, you know, there's some civil projects that I've been interested in throwing my hand at. And I've always wanted to open an onsen. Like, yeah, I'll just switch things up. I need to stay busy, but it doesn't have to be like tech. It doesn't have to be like digital entrepreneurship.
Okay. Speaking of Chiang Mai, speaking of SEO and AI, do you expect a lot of talks about AI during the Chiang Mai SEO conference?
Probably, yeah. It's the hot topic right now. Like, man, if like I'm in the YouTube game, right? Like, if you want to grow a YouTube channel fast, just talk about AI. Like, it's like you can't go wrong. But yeah, it is a hot topic, and we got like some speakers who are doing the craziest. Like, the person that I know is doing the most with AI right now, Robert Nischel, and he's speaking. Like, of course, he's going to be talking about AI, and then yeah, that pretty much. I'd imagine a good 40 to 60% is going to be AI focused.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to the event?
Yeah, it's a different experience for me. Like, I love Chiang Mai SEO when it's over and I can bask in the accomplishment of like what's been done. But imagine like you're throwing a party for that everyone else can enjoy, and like you just don't get to enjoy it. Like you got to stay sober. You gotta worry about everything breaking and stuff. Like that's what it's like for me.
Well, mods definitely got to enjoy SEO mastery in Saigon.
He's built different, man. He's built different. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, speaking of conferences, by the way, we're also attending the affiliate gathering in York this May. So I'm gonna meet more people from the industry. But speaking of CMSEO, Chiang Mai SEO conference, like it really, at least it seems like from the outer perspective that it's really something that stands out among other similar events. Maybe it's because of branding. You and your team are doing a really great job in terms of like creating this image of this amazing event and all the meetups of all the different interesting great people in the industry. But what makes it special for you in particular, except the thing that you're the one hosting it?
Why do I think Chiang Mai SEO works? There's a few reasons. Like, number one is, imagine this scenario. Like, imagine an employee, like an intern at an SEO agency, asks his boss, like, "Hey, can I get a paid work vacation to Thailand to go to this conference?" Like, the boss can be like, "Hell no! What conference is this? I want to go instead." Right? So it's like Chiang Mai SEO, it just attracts like the top level people in the game. So like the portfolio owners, the agency owners, like the top dogs, because no one sends their employees on a vacation to Thailand. Yeah. They want to go themselves, right? So there's that. And so like the networking is the best, you know, like you're always just networking with, you know, the most biggest badass people in the game, right? So there's that part of it too. And then another is just like we're the speakers that we get and the topics we talk about, they're unfiltered, right? So like like I mentioned, like you mentioned that I mentioned, is it's not about like black hat and white hat. It's just about what works, right? What's working right now? What's interesting? A speech on like voice search or how to do technical SEO on your website, that's going to bomb at Chiang Mai SEO. We're way past that. We're talking about different stuff. We're on the cutting edge. You know, so like, I think there needs to be a conference for this. Like, I'm sure they exist. But I don't know, like there needs to be more conferences like this. I know a lot of them are catered towards, like getting industry speakers that are like, your run of the mill speakers that are just talking about your circuit speakers, right? I'm looking for people in the trenches. I'm looking for people that are, like competing in the hardest niches possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the badasses. And I think like this combination and filling this gap that the conference scene doesn't take care of already just makes it super easy for me to sell tickets.
What do you expect to achieve with this year's conference? What is your ultimate goal?
For me,
for you personally.
Personally, my goal every year is to sell out. So that happened very luckily
quickly.
This year.
Just over 25 hours.
Yeah, 24 hours. That's something like personal side note is like, that's the major stressful part for me. Like imagine having a birthday party. Like you always have this fear, like no one's going to show up. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like, even though it sells out every year, I always have the same feeling like, oh, maybe I've lost it. Maybe no one cares anymore. So it's like, it's a relief to get that out of the way. But in general, I like to put on the event. I like everyone to have a good time. I, of course, love to hear like the stories afterwards. I get a lot of emails saying like, man, I met my business partner at the conference. Mm-hmm. I took things to the next level once I got expired and see what the level everyone else was at. A lot of people have the same like reported feeling that it was like a high school reunion with a bunch of people I didn't know I went to high school with, like people I've been talking to online this whole time and working with and seeing in the forums, seeing in the groups. Like now I met them face to face. And also it's just a really good to showcase what Chiang Mai life is like. Because in Chiang Mai, like everyone's an entrepreneur. Whether if you're not an SEO, then you're doing e-commerce, you're doing something else, but you're in this game to some extent. Mm-hmm. And like the SEO community here is hundreds deep, So it's good for people to experience like what's it like living in a world where everyone I talk to is doing the same thing. Everyone's an entrepreneur. Everyone's talking about possibility. I love to showcase that. I like to get people into the buzz.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier that networking is everything, and just reminded me about it right now. Like meeting all these different people, high school reunion with people I've never studied with. It really rang a bell for me because I met some of the really, really great people in Saigon. And here's a funny story about how I met Greg Elfrink of Empire Flippers. So yeah, in the first
here we go.
In the first day of the conference, when I was walking to the after party, the first one, I just came across this blonde bearded guy with glasses, and we found out that both of us are attending the conference, and he asked me like, how did you like this first day of the conference? What was your favorite presentation? And I said, the first day was great, enjoyed all the presentations, and but the favorite my favorite part was Matt's Q&A panel. And he looked at me straight in the eye and said, "Oh, thank you." And this is when I realized that he was the second guy sitting there with you on the stage, and I've never met him before. I've never seen him before online, so it just didn't click with me, And right now, just out of nowhere, Odys, his partner, is working on a collaboration, on a partnership with Empire Flippers, and it seems like we're almost in the last 100 meters, and I'm exchanging messages once in a while with Greg, just discussing things. Well, Alex, our CEO, was a guest on their podcast, and I've also started discussing with Greg whether he would like to be a guest on our show as well. So yeah, just great people out of nowhere. Something I wouldn't ever expect, and Empire Flippers, the top dogs, just like you were saying.
Yeah.
Uh,
You just gotta be in the room, right? Everyone came from the same place. I hardly see anyone like at these events or in our community that was born rich or grew up with a golden spoon in their mouth. Like everyone came from the same place. People assume like people at the top of their game have big egos and are unapproachable, but it's totally not the case.
Yeah.
You just need to show up. You just need to go. And look, like you guys just hit off a deal by having a casual conversation in a hotel lobby. That's how easy it is.
Absolutely. All right, we're almost out of time, so I just have a few more questions for you. Not job related. What do you enjoy doing in your spare time?
I like reading. I like going to the gym, fitness. I like psychedelics. I like learning guitar, spending time with my family. Food, big on food. I love fine dining. Yep.
Are you playing the guitar for yourself or in a band?
No, I just started learning in October.
Oh,
I
just started
like just to like stimulate my brain in a different way. It's fun though. Yeah.
Fun. So I think you're the first person who's the first fully grown up adult person who started learning guitar not in their teen years that I know. That's funny. That's unexpected. You also mentioned that
Let's see if I ever get good.
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
If you enjoy it, I'm sure you have all the chances to get good at it. You also mentioned that you love reading. What is your favorite book of all time? Personal go-to.
Fiction. Fiction. I love Dune. Dune's like the quintessential. Like I'm mostly a fantasy fan, but I do like my number one is the sci-fi. It's Dune. I can't wait for Dune this next
Part 2,
the next movie to come out.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Speaking of Dune, I'm also a huge fan. I can't say if it's my favorite book of all time. I'm just not sure. It could be. I'm just not sure. But one funny thing that I've read about it, like in various discussions, is that it's a fantasy novel set in a sci-fi environment.
Maybe there's I mean, sci-fi is fantasy. It's something that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's just not set in the past with swords and wizards.
Yeah.
Maybe there are kind of wizards in there. I don't know.
Yeah.
We digress.
But
anyways,
what makes it your favorite book?
World building, the story progression, the character progression. It's just cool concept of like someone through like the power of their mind achieves like an almost godlike status.
I assume you've read like at least the first 2 trilogies.
I haven't finished the whole set. It's pretty.
Yeah, well,
it gets shitty.
Well, I didn't read the last 3 books of the main line, the Dune line that Herbert's son finished, like the Hunters of Dune and Sandworms of Dune. But I've read the first 6 books Frank wrote. What I really like about it is that, well, Paul, whom you consider like this hero in shining armor in the first book, gradually becomes the main villain of at least of the first trilogy. Like becoming this emperor who rages like this jihad, a huge war around the universe, killing billions of people, and how this shifts, and basically, like this is like a reverse character development, because usually you see like bad guys becoming good guys over the time, but in this case, you see how someone who seemed noble and had like good intentions gradually becomes a villain and accepts his fate. So, yeah, this is also, this is my remark on why I love these books. Okay, one last question for you, Matt. What would your advice be for aspiring entrepreneurs, whether they're SEOs, affiliate marketers, e-commerce experts, whoever?
Yeah, I would say at the beginning, it seems like things are impossible. I mean, because our whole beginnings is like children, even all the way up to college. It's like the path that's laid out for us is you get your education, you get into a profession that's your education prepares you for, and then you stick with that and you climb the ladder, right? Mm-hmm. That's the only thing that we know works, because that's what our system tells us works from day one. But like entrepreneurship, like it's you're taking a risk and you don't know for sure it's going to work. But trust me on this, like it's not even remotely as hard as like going to a 9-to-5 and grueling it out in like a very developed, super technical field or anything like that. It's just, I see people without high school degrees crushing it all the time in SEO and affiliate marketing. So you're going to pull it off. Mm-hmm. And even if the worst case scenario happened and you didn't become super rich, you just made enough to get by, at least your life would be super fulfilling because you're working for yourself and it's all yours. That's just in itself is worth it right there. But the odds that you just made enough to get by are pretty slim. Like this is a very lucrative film. There's a lot of very lucrative way to make money. There's a lot of money in this game. Yeah.
Wow. This sounds like a perfect wrap up for our conversation. So thank you very much for joining us, for being our guest on the show. It really was a pleasure talking to you and getting so many valuable insights, and just you're really, really an interesting person to talk to. Thank you.